Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the GaBane series here on YouTube. Yes, we are on episode 7. I believe it's already been 7 episodes since I started this silly little challenge idea. Rules are on screen. We're all familiar with the rules. If you've seen this series, you know we only pick Shakedown Advanced by Web, we only play FOD, and we only play Standard. But today is a little bit of a special episode of the Jake Only Challenge. You know why it's special? Because today we are trying out an experiment, ladies and gentlemen. We are trying out 5 games. That's right, 5 games. 2 more than I usually post. Usually these episodes are 3 games, and that's it. Today we are trying out 5. And the reason we're going to try out 5 is because we had to get the series moving a little bit. You know, we wanted to have more games. We want to show more progress. The goal is to hit 1100 ELO in either Standard or FOD. And it's kind of hard to do when we're dividing the ELO. So, a little bit of an extra special episode today. Let's get right into the first game, shall we? And we have the Maximize mod now. That's right. We no longer have to worry about any of that nonsense. So now we can see perfectly much bigger detail, much better for your viewing experience. So the first match here is against Mind Commander, who's a very good player. And it's tier 1. Oh, it's bad news bears, ladies and gentlemen, when we have to fight the Mind Commander. So we're down there in the red versus the Goopy Jews up at the top. Now the thing with Sasha is, Sasha's a pretty hard matchup with. Long-time viewers of this series will know that I have a hard time fighting tier 1. It is by far the hardest tier for me. Sasha's going to have the extra money. I have to play very safe in this matchup. Again, I'm fighting Sasha. Mind Commander, that cheeky little guy, he opens up an APC here using that extra Sasha fundage to get himself basically a free APC. I think this match is going to show a good example of how just easy it is to get the extra funds put to your advantage. So despite building the APC, you can immediately follow it up with a tank, but opts to not do so. This is a bit curious. I was really expecting a tank from him. So I roll out my tank. I'm like, okay, we have opportunity to get some free hits on any of this stuff here. But then I had to think, I'm like, maybe he's going to build a copter or go for a double tank next turn. So if he goes for a copter this turn, I can't afford an anti-air, so that could be a very cheaty move. Nice little boosty here. You know, you load it here, you get it ready to go here. Not sure I'm a biggest fan of the UI going backwards, though. I don't know. Where do I go backwards to? It feels a little inefficient, but we have another infantry ready to go. Now, the map's creator, Dr. Nasty here, he told me that the secret to this map is that this is actually your strong side, because this base here is really difficult to actually start to push with, because it's right behind this pipe, so it's really slow. So very tricky, something you wouldn't expect. The 1 base, 1 air being the strong side, and sure enough, he was a copter, and I pretty much have to respond with a base tip anti-air. Not doing so would just be detrimental to my health. So that's anyway I do a base tip anti-air, because it's kind of forced, otherwise this copter is just going to eat a bunch of free guys. Kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. But all is not lost. There was some tempo loss for that. But yeah, this is a lot of infantry pointed at me. So now the nice thing is this tank has some free dudes here, right? You can come clean up this dude, you can attack this dude. There's stuff you can do with your dudes. So I go here to attack. I've done anti-air covering it, so if the copter wants to take a shot, you know, it's going to be bad news bears for the copter, and we all know about the bad news bears. Interestingly, I actually backed off my capture. Mind Commander told me I probably should have just gone for it here and just hoped that I didn't get 2-shot. I backed off, so I'm going to lose this infantry for basically free. There's like 5 infantry over here. I go and clean up this guy, and I have to go and clean this guy up as well. So I did a nice couple infantry shots here. Playing about as well as I think I can for the matchup. Gets a nice little boosty there. Has another infantry ready to load into, so he's using this APC exceptionally well. Go here, actually did a nice shot there. Again, just making sure that the anti-air is good. But by moving this tank over here, I am sort of letting go of this area. And I wonder if this was actually a mistake, if I should have like went all in middle and maybe just surrendered this area. But I was really focused on keeping Sasha off of her thresholds. See how my opponent does a nice little wall here. But I'm a sneaky stunt crew. I got my own little plans here. So I go in, I just eat, I start attacking all these infantry because if you attack all their infantry, they can't really capture very much. So we immediately did some pretty good engagements, and we have a nice little ball of stuff over here. So I didn't talk about it last turn. My opponent could have used this APC to block for me on the previous turn, but he didn't. I actually saw that move in the stream, and he did not. Which, by the way, all these matches, they get streamed live down in the Twitch below, so if you want to come watch the Jake Break live, it's right down there. We stream every Tuesday morning. And sometimes bonus streams you gotta keep a watch out for. We just got emotes. We finally hit Twitch affiliate, so if you know, it's a good time. You know, never done be fun part of the stunty Advance Wars community, as it were. So this counterattack's pretty good, and we unfortunately just don't really have a good counter. And yeah, at this point, I'm like, nah, we're just gonna go in. It's kind of cowabunga it is, because Sasha just has so much stuff. That was maybe a bit premature, but at this point, I could kind of already see the writing on the wall. The extra Sasha money and tempo just lets her do so much stuff, and yeah, we kind of just get clapped here. We get cleaned pretty thoroughly. You know, maybe I should have held off a little bit, but this match was already pretty hard, and yeah, we can see how this one's gonna go, can't we? Yeah, we marked a crash as well, so I'm not even gonna get a nice block rock. Not that I think it would have super helped here, but so I think this is a Hail Mary attack. I'm just going and getting the kills that I can get. And then I resign. So very rough first match. My commander was actually very nice enough to talk to me after this game, and he basically said, yeah, you kind of played about as well as you could have, given the Sasha-Jake matchup. Sasha just has all that extra money that she can use early, and he used that early money to get really good infantry positions with that free APC, and just being able to keep up the tempo, you know, the early copter forcing me to base skip, just really using Sasha to the best of her advantage. You know, tier 1, I've talked about before, is like the hardest tier for me to fight. It's where, like, your best matchup's like Hawk, and even that's not really like a great matchup. So very rough first start to the stream, and you know, getting stream sniped here. And you know who likes to come and stream snipe me? Ober. This son snitch knows how to kick a stunt when he's down. Every time I take a loss, he is like always there to like immediately follow up with me. So I wasn't feeling too great after this match, and admittedly, this is another case of where I misread the map. This is a very weak one base. It's like hilariously weak. In fact, the airport's not too bad, but I kind of misunderstand just how weak the one base is, and we're gonna speed through this one because this one's gonna be pretty quick. There's not too much to kind of talk about in this game here. But just trying to capture phase stuff. Not much really happening. You're gonna see the blunder here soon. It's pretty bad. Now Rachel isn't too hard of a CO for me to fight. I'd say she's, in terms of tier 3, she's probably the easiest outside of like Sonya and Fog. But Rachel's not too bad if you know how to bait her missiles. Yeah, very strong side, very weak one base. You know, very choky, very slow reinforce over here. And again, I was already a little burnt after the first game with Mind Commander, so I wasn't thinking too straight here. You know, tilt is a big part of the game. So Ober's just doing a good job of centralizing his forces, and I'll give credit to my boy. He did a good job of punishing me where I need to be punished here. Meanwhile, I'm centralizing over on my weak side when I should be stabbing. You know, I'm being very reactive instead of proactive, the classic mistake that I talk about all the time. And he's just sitting on cities, just, you know, it's not a bad move. City sit, very good. So we kind of cowabunga here. It's not a terrible cowabunga, admittedly. However, I vastly underestimated the ability to wall break me here. You're about to see what's about to happen. It's going to be very... I basically blunder my tank here. Here, I didn't realize he could wrap around from here and then also attack me from there. So I was expecting one attack. I was not expecting two. And I basically full blunder a tank in my center control. And at this point, I'm like, oh man, I recognize I'm playing very sloppy. Very sloppy toppy. And I need to be playing a lot better. So we're basically turtling at this point. But Ober, he's a smart cookie. He's trying to barrel in on my strong side here and just send everything that way. Putting pressure here and just really making it so I can't fight over here. Builds a battle copter. It's not a bad thing to do because it forces me to build anti-air, and anti-air are pretty bad on this map. Copters are very good, anti-air very bad. So at this point, I'm like, all right, we have to race. This is when I'm like, I have to just race and play defense. You know, we're giving up a bajillion free dudes over here. It's a sad state of affairs, but at this point, I felt like I had done too many blunders and lost too much momentum that it didn't really matter. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to charge in. We're just going to full yeet. And to be fair, my yeet's not too bad, but we're about to see the worst blunder of all time here. I want to block rock this turn because I actually get enough range to kill this copter. And I can actually do quite a bit of stuff. You know, I can front shift this tank down here and get a nice shot as well. But the charge is just not there for me. And I do a silly move. At this tank. Just block the port. And I remember being very upset that I did this. Again, I went into this game already not feeling very great after that first game. And they did stream sniped. Did sniped again. So after this match, I kind of laid down the law. I laid down the law in chat. I'm like, okay. This is causing negative impact on this series, and just this is a series I'm doing for fun, for entertainment. I don't want this sort of thing to... So I basically agreed upon with chat that no more sniping of the jank account will be occurring. I basically laid down the law, because otherwise I won't be able to stream this anymore, and I think it's a lot of fun to stream this stuff. The viewers seem to like it. I like doing it, but I can't have, you know, sniping negatively, like snipe stacking and negatively interact with the series. So I ended stream after this game, and I took a break. I took a break for about a week or so before I came back. And I did another stream earlier today at the time of recording this. So, again, week after, I'm de-tilted, I'm feeling better. Something else happened, I forget what, but something else made me tilted too. So a lot of tilt happened between these two streams. But at this point, you know, people were very nice, they were very open to me, saying like, yeah, we totally respect that. So I was very happy that people were willing to reciprocate my wishes to not snipe me during the J account. If I'm on the main account and I'm just playing live, you can snipe me all you want, you know. But I don't really like it on the main account, on the Jake account. So here we're fighting GaBane, which, by the way, fake Bane. I am the shikabane. I am the real Bane. They are a fake Bane. They are a faker. I am the real one. So, you know, there's a war of the Banes. And already I forget to move. I just forget this black boat exists. So first match of the game, and I went, ooh, that's a little... It doesn't end up mattering too much. Now, fighting Andy is actually a pretty realistic matchup for me. Because the thing with Andy is Jake is actually pretty capable of killing Andy's stuff. And we did our power spike around the same time. So it's actually not too bad of a matchup. So my black bow is just a little bit too far behind. We go and unload a bunch of infantry, just some capture phase stuff. Now I remember really contemplating my first build here. I'm like, do I want to build a recon and try to force strong side fights? I ended up going with neither. No recon, no tank, and just build infantry because its base light and infantry are very valuable. This didn't give up a lot of tempo, so it's a very risky maneuver. But we'll see how I leverage this. So the first thing I do, I move out here and I go and capture these two properties. Build myself a strong side tank and a weak side recon. Now, why do I build a weak side recon? Because he can only build one tank. And he's not really able to really two tank me. So the recon lets me kind of have pressure over here with a vehicle while continuing the tank chain on my weak side. So even though like our tanks have to go here, we still have a vehicle over here. There's like recon beats infantry, right? So I don't think this was a bad move at all. I think this is actually a very good buy. Now this turn, I actually do a cheeky move. I capture my airport. Airport's mine. Roll out the recon. Capture my top tower, and I actually interrupt my own capture to come and smack this guy. Now, the reason we smack this guy is because this is going to delay the airport by a lot. It's going to slow down all of their captures in this area. These are their only infantry here. And this is going to really slow down their airport, which means their strong side takes further to come online. Because what really turns strong side on is this airport. And then they kind of blunder a tank here. This tank does not actually reach to cover this if I attack from the forest. So this was a bit of a blunder. Now it is an anti-tank. I can't kill it. But I mean, it's still a good engagement. So I actually come over here. I weaken another one of their infantry. And down here, it's just free dude central, right? Like this recon can kind of just hit whatever dude it wants. Pick your favorite dude. And then they resign. So kind of a nothing burger game. Admittedly, I was a little let down by the first game being such a nothing burger. But, you know, sometimes that's just how it be. Sometimes, you know, you just do well enough that you win. And that's just one of these games. So rest in peace, GaBane. As you can see, I am the real Bane. The real one right here. So, sorry for the... So, we've had 2 losses. And we've had... a nothing burger game. I think you guys deserve some proper games. And our last 2 games are bangers. I've saved the best for last, ladies and gentlemen. The last 2 games here make those first 3 games look like nothing. So, first game. GaBane versus KHB, who was 1100 ELO at the time of this match. Now, if you don't know who KHB is, he's a very good player. He's a very good player, a very good standard player. Remember, my standard is not my mode of choice. I'm primarily a FOD player. So my first reaction to, like, I know this guy is giving Floppa trouble. Yeah, like Floppa, who's way better than me. Yeah, that's the level of player we're dealing with. So when I saw I mentioned the KHB, I'm like, all right, we have relative. If I lose, I'm losing like 5 ELO because he's like 300 above me. But if I win, I'm going to get like a bunch of ELO. So I'm like, low risk, high reward. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I really want to win. So I locked the fuck in for this one. Got them down here, and me up the monkeys. By the way, I really like the monkey army. I think they're probably one of my. If I wasn't so loyal to Jade's son at this point, I would probably play monkeys more often. Monkeys are just cool. Little monkey, oops. Who doesn't like the little monkeys? Go for that, capture that. So nothing too crazy. Also, map gimmick, this is a pretty weak airport. You know why? Because it's like a whole turn behind the base. You have a lander here, but it's trapped behind the anti-air. And if you get this lander, you can ferry infantry from this base to here to help with your weak side, or like down here to like put stuff in the middle. And once you get this port right here for some extra money, there's a comm tower back here behind this pipe seam, but it's not real in my opinion. I feel like if you're going to put an artillery here to break this pipe seam, that's just so much tempo loss. You can't really afford that in standard. At least that's what I think. And spoiler alert, KHB agrees with me because they don't they don't get that comm tower either. So if you want to see that comm tower captured, not here, folks. So just some capture phase stuff here. I do have the luxury of building the first tank, and you know me, I don't really like to build the first tank in B tank order. But I'm like, you know what, we're gonna build it in the middle and have maximum flexibility, so. So my opponent is up already here in the contestants. By the way, contestants are like right here. Middle is like fairly safe. They build a middle tank as well, not a bad thing to do. But because of all their city skipping, they actually kind of screwed themselves because they can't afford another tank next turn. They only have 6K. So we forced this into a BA, no tank, BA. So it's kind of, because of all the city skipping, KHB is kind of passed the baton to my favor a little bit. So this is a bit of a mistake, but I do mess up and block this tile, so my tank's forced to go here. Doesn't feel very good. But fortunately, due to the tank timing, I'm not in any risk for any free dudes yet, so I can build my second tank up at my weak side, and meanwhile, just send my tank straight down. And my tank is immediately threatening free hits, so he has to retreat from this area, which is very, very good for me. So already, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm in the driver's seat. We're feeling pretty good. So yeah, he has to back up here, but has to build a weak side tank. I'm like, all right, we're cooking with gas right now. My little munties are coming in, and my philosophy with infantry is that infantry on your strong side are less valuable. Now they're not worthless, right? You're not Sensei, where they're just garbage. They're still valuable, but they're less valuable. So you can be more aggressive with them because you're gonna constantly have more, whereas the one base is gonna be a little more strained to make more infantry. Now I actually think I kind of made a mistake here. I feel like maybe he could have gone for this silo hit to hit this monkey. But, you know, there is an owned city here, and he built an artillery. Another thing, this artillery was pretty early, and this gives up a lot of tempo. And I had just enough money to go tank artillery infantry because I had 14K. So I can still build my artillery without really giving up too much tempo. So it's kind of a weird thing to build the artillery to kill the anti-air. So I'm like, okay, this feels pretty good. But we have one little advantage here. We're getting the comm tower first. So I go on and I take a shot. 8-6, it's not a bad thing to do, and we have another tank back up. He cannot afford to stay here and fight. So even though this is my weak side and this is on 3-star terrain, we can afford to take this because we have backup and he doesn't. This is the price of this artillery. This artillery cost him another tank that to be backed up, so you'd given up some tempo here. You know, over here, we're just going for a few little brawls here. It's nothing too crazy. You know, going up here and just cleaning up some stuff. Delaying this property by a good bit with some monkeys. Very aggressive captures by myself. But again, my mindset is my strong side monkeys are less important than my weak side monkeys because I'm going to have more of them. And getting into an infantry fight with Jess is like really good for me. So I'm honestly okay if my opponent wants to go infantry on infantry with me. I lose a few guys over here, but it's okay. We did our job over there. It's not a bad thing. Shift, the tank is forced to withdraw. And in doing so, it actually gave me a free interrupt over here on the silo attacking this infantry. So yeah, if we just go in, we get ourselves some nice captures. And see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. So many monkeys versus very few infantry, little beret boys. Here, we do an attack here, because again, I can afford to be this aggressive. I built a battlecopter here because my logic was they have 15K, they probably want to go tank inf, but they can't go tank inf with a battlecopter because they'll need to buy an anti-air. But this was actually an even better move because they have repairs. They're repairing this tank, they're repairing this infantry, so it's actually an even better move than I thought. So, interesting moves by my opponent here. They actually shift this tank north and attack here. But we have plans, ladies and gentlemen. Also, by the way, didn't talk about it. What is that? Chat, what is it? What is that? Is that a mistake? I think that's a mistake. I'm going to talk about medium tanks again. Oh no, Grandpa Sheeta's talking about medium tanks again. I told the nurses to not engage with him when he goes on about that crap. I do not like medium tanks. They're a little better for Jess because they are affected by your movement, and they can one-shot a lot of stuff. But it kind of just asks Jake to build artillery, and Jake has really good artillery. So I'm not a super fan of this. Plus, it's like those are extra vehicles you now can't build, and they flip and base shift for that guy. They base shift for that medium tank. Here with the 7 HP tank. Build myself another tank. And we have 2 artillery coming. I actually leave this anti-air at 1 HP to move the artillery closer sooner, because this battlecopter will actually come and finish it off. Especially now that there's an anti-air going this way, I don't really want this battlecopter going over here anymore. This battlecopter, it's to come this way. Especially with the medium tank down there, just more incentive. So, you know, the medium tank eats a few of my monkeys, but it's okay, I've got more monkeys. So here, my goal is to be able to get a nice revenge shot on this tank from the silo, and this is going to be 8 HP. So it's going to be a pretty good thing to do. Now, I won't do my opponent credit. This is a really cheeky block here. I was thinking this was going to be a free interrupt, but they actually cover it with artillery. So very cheeky move. I actually respect it quite a lot. Quite a good move on my opponent's part. 6-7. And then they build another one. Okay. The first medium tank, fine, whatever. But you see 2 artilleries. I don't know, man. I don't like building a medium tank in the face of 2 artilleries. Maybe I'd like it more if it was over here. But I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of the second medium tank. So I retreat my 1 HP tank, send in my 8 to fight the 5. We do a 5-5 here. And my logic is, if he wants to come and use the anti-air to clear me, that's perfectly fine. Because we're winning over here. So we set up our artillery, and the thing Jess has to remember about these artillery is that these are not ordinary artillery, these are Jake artillery. And if I use my powers, they're going to actually get +1 range. So even though this tank looks in a pretty vulnerable position, it's not actually. Now they could use a DeCio power and wrap around to hit this artillery, but it's on a silo, started by another artillery, it doesn't feel great. So we have just a very dominant position over here because of these medium tanks. Back there, they just go in the city. And they use a mid-turn COP. I disagree. I feel like the COP doesn't really accomplish very much. I know what they wanted to do. They want... Alright, I'm going to show you kind of a bit of bullshit, I'll admit. 7 HP does not get the roll. I don't know what the odds of this were. So if I go to like damage calc, 56 to 64, knocks me to 1, and then fails the 1 HP roll. Fails the 50-50. That's a little bullshit. I would probably be mad. He wanted to wall break to hit the artillery. I know what he wanted to do. So he fails the roll. Just Jess things. Trying to clean up my tank, but that's okay. Now over here, we're still, what is it? We're playing defensive with our monkeys, but we still have a decent amount of monkeys. Boomba, we're just attacking with our monkeys. Attack the anti-air, just why not? There's no real punishment for doing so. Go back and heal that monkey. Tanks are coming in. Unload, get my port, and now here comes the battlecopter. We sack the 1 HP, we use our infantry to clear that. We get a nice tank strike. Tank strike there. And here comes the artillery. And I build
Good spicy dolphin ball.
Neo tanks Always better than medium tanks. Remember it? Repeat it? Golf ball versus square Lego. Always better. And now that Jess has used her power, she's actually pretty far away from another turbocharge. And again, you have to remember, we have +1 range on all these boys. So this tank here and this tank here are actually covered by artillery, even though they don't look like it. And these are on planes too, so they have 40% of firepower. That's some scary artillery. So they're just taking the kills they can with those medium tanks. These medium tanks are just fighting infantry, not really doing jack all. But I am starting to lose my munties. We are running out of munties, and I'm like, oh no. We gotta protect our munties, chat. Our munties are valuable. I go for the capture, and we just kind of ball up around all this stuff. So if he wants to interrupt this, he has to use vehicles. He has to like attack with the medium tank and then send in a tank here. And now we have a Neo tank as well that can get +2 movement, so it actually covers. It covers both these tanks, even though it doesn't look like it. So we just have a nice formation here that KHB just cannot really attack into. Go up there, did some nice trades. Treat my monkeys. Remember, we want to conserve our infantry on our weak side. But we have the Lander Chan now that's going to help us make more monkeys. So my opponent, cheaty as they are, begins to front you. Okay, fine, I can't fight there. You can have this city, I'll just go get this other one. And what does Sheikah do? Sheikah does not engage. Also, by the way, these just infantry fights feel so sad. Just Jess things. So I'm like, okay, we need to free our tanky. Use these guys. Free the tanky poo. Drop off more infantry, and we just react. We go up here. Now, my opponent is going to attempt to wall break me this turn. See, this artillery position is not fallible. However, I gaslit myself, and I'm going to explain why. They go for this engagement, tank attack tank, sat the anti-air into my tank, attack this infantry, attack this copter, CO power. I thought that this allowed Jess to actually kill both artillery. Tank comes in, kills artillery. Can't reach. Can't reach. So all they do is kill an infantry. And now, it's time to rock! We actually had a nice planes shot there. I actually used my artillery to just kill the Jess artillery. Just delete it from existence. Get a nice copter strike there from a planes. Kill their copter. Interrupt that capture. Kill the medium tank. Get a nice shot on the medium tank as well. Kill that. And stuff's just dead. Stuff is just dying. We did a nice kill there. And now, it's not looking good for old Jesse Poo. This is looking like, not good. They do weaken my artillery, it's very sad, but I've got a Neo tank. I remember on stream, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, they timed out at this point, so they get money for 2 tech ups. But I'm like, you know what? It's too little too late, bud. I'm gonna take all this clucking stuff. Oh yeah, little cheeky move. This time you healed to 5 this turn. I go ahead and join in with this other 5 to make a full health infantry, a full health monkey, ready to come capture here. Yeah, so this infantry was glitched, actually isn't real. So now we're pointing infantry at a lot of properties. We're taking this back. It's not good. You know, KHB's lead is nice while they had it, but it's all kind of crumbling down. They attacked my anti-air, which I don't care about that. I did a nice one shot from a city that feels pretty good. Build a nice infantry wall. Oh yeah, cheeky little thing. What did this move? I load the artillery into the lander. Boosty artillery boosty, and it's cute. So now we're just like in complete protect mode. I want to get all these contested properties from KHB. Turn my unit lead into something. I don't know why the connection's interrupted. Very strange. Hang on. Live technical difficulties from the site. The site is breaking. Oh no. Is the site broken? All right, the site is no longer broken. I say as the refresh takes hold. Very cool. Thank you, Advanced Wars by Web. So we skip through this turn, build our wall. Now this is where I think it ultimately just it stopped existing as a game. Jess leaves her Neo tank on the road. They kill my anti-air, which doesn't really matter. They do build a copter, but at this point I smelled blood. I'm like, I'm just gonna go in, just full yeet, hit the artillery, hit all this clucking stuff. I actually do another join, the 2 HP and the 9 HP. Join them together to get another monkey, so we do a double cap the next turn, potentially a triple cap even. Artillery right there. Boomba. Boomba. Neo tank hits Neo tank on road. That's devastating. Copter and tank right there. Put the artillery behind it all. And at this point, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. You know, KHB, they play on for a little bit. They're a stubborn son of a gun. I respect it. But it's not enough. Capture the final two properties up there. You surround the medium tank with a bunch of slop. Just a bunch of slop. It doesn't matter. That's dying. And we get the resignation. This was actually a huge upset. I went into this game like, I'm going to try my best to win. But I don't think I will. It's KHB. They're like a really good player. So major upset compared to like this. I felt very proud of this game. I felt like, and like Paul Dudu in chat was like, yeah, you kind of just played that very well. So very fun game. Gave me a fight for my life. Very good game, KHP. Maybe now you will be a medium tank denier like me. Do not listen to Captain Azrael propaganda. Do not listen to semi-original Guy. Do not listen to them. They are objectively wrong. I am the smart one. But sometimes Neo tanks aren't enough. Admittedly, I was riding a high after this game, ladies and gentlemen. And Shikabane, when they're riding a high, they can get a little ambitious. Which brings us to our final game. In the fog. Another 1100 rated player. Back-to-back high-rated opponents. So again, I was feeling good after the first game. I honestly could not be brought down. So, let's get right into it. Our final game. I'm going to show you where Stunku went wrong. Does Mind Commander gave me some advice in this game, and I'm going to share that wisdom with you. That little bit of wisdom. Now, Mind Commander gave me some advice here about my capture phase. What I should do is have this infantry capture here, this infantry move here to capture this, and then move here. Now, I had never played the map before, so I didn't know this, but I'm going to show you what I did instead. Instead, I line up for a triple capture and build an artillery. Why do I build an artillery? Put it in this woods. Lock down these two cities and play defense. Is what I should do, but remember, I was riding a high, and I was kind of expecting a recon opener, so that's a very adder move to do, but my opponent, he's going to open standard. Little honk shoe opener. There's nothing wrong with opening a little honk shoe. You know, opening tank. I actually, by the way, little FOD tip for anyone who's like learning FOD, by the way, you can get away with opening tank like 90% of maps, 95 even. Like, there's a lot of people at lower elos will open recon, so opening tank will just win the rock, paper, scissors most of the time. Yes, you'll have the occasional good player who's going to open transport and get a lot of money because of it. But tanks are never bad. I actually do a base ship tank as well. Very aggressive opening by my part. Another thing about this map is that this is one of those very coin flippy maps where there's not really a strong side. These maps are not my favorite. You know, just you kind of just gotta get lucky with where you go, and it's not a bad map. It's just not my favorite. So as you can see, you hear there's a little bit of an instance of losing the coin flip because we're sending the tank north. Stuff like that. The double recon turn. So my opponent, he really hates recons. I don't think he builds a single recon all game. Or maybe like one. Because he's just going to tank it up. And yeah, look, he's sending all of this stuff south. And I don't know it yet. I have a tank over here out of position. So I use my artillery, and you know, it's not a bad position. My commander really said, like, you kind of won the opener. Or at least I would have. Spoiler alert, it's about to all come crashing down around me. He hits all of this stuff in range. 1, 2, 3, 5 tanks. 5 motherfucking tanks. Maybe this is why I'm not 1100 elo. I go greed. I go full greed. I overextend. I should have just stayed back and played defense. Defend this property and keep a watch on this property. My commander basically said that if I had done that, I probably would have won. But I overextend into their side. And this turn's brutal. He like finds all my stuff. Attacks my tank, traps my tank. I can't get out of there. No, lose it. And now, I don't understand how bad the danger is yet. I get greedy, and this turn, honestly, the game was probably over on this turn, in hindsight. I'm sure a highlighter player would look at my game here and say, yeah, you lost here. Probably shouldn't have kept playing from this point, just like, look at how much I get cleaned. Losing over here. I am getting over here because he has nothing over here. So we clean up over there. We did all the properties. And we follow the twat bat because we can't fight over here. So at this point, we have really lost the script over here. Our strong opener with the artillery just kind of fell apart. And now my opponent has complete control of the game, which is not good. I'm forced to be a reactive Andy here. And what do I do when I have to be reactive Andy? I build a death ball. We just build a giant ball of stuff and roll it one way or another. Now my opponent, he actually doesn't fully leave the area. It's a defensive positioning just like myself. And meanwhile, the death ball formeth. But my opponent, he's a smart cookie. Fortunately, my recon sees this little push here. So I'm feeling like all this stuff's going north. And I'm mostly right. He has a small like assault force in the south. But I'm like, all right, death ball, moving this way. Look at all this stuff over here. So many copters. No recons for my man. Recons, he is at 1 recon. But he is about to clean my clock. My stuff is all moving north. I've got a ragtag bunch of units in the south. Goes in with his power. Honestly, it's not even that good of a power. I think if I had maybe I should have considered going in on this turn. But I was worried about I'd actually be able to kill stuff because my stuff is like just out of position enough that I didn't feel comfortable. I built myself a Neo tank, but spoiler alert. The shikabane weakness of having not enough anti-air, by the way, it rears deadly head. I really need to take a lesson from Floofy and just listen to their anti-air propaganda. Just holy schmotes. So they just kind of stay back. They stay back far enough from my ball, and they're a very good positional player. And I am not. So my opponent kind of schooled me. Both of our death balls are pointing at each other with like a little schlop in the south. Just look at this. Staying far enough back that doesn't matter. And yeah, we full yeet. At this point, I was pretty convinced I lost this game. So I full yeeted into my opponent and just like, you know what? I'm so happy with the KHB game. You can have this one. So unfortunately, it kind of just spirals out from here. He's got enough stuff in the south to contest my properties. And yeah, look at this slaughter. Just bashes into me. Not enough anti-air to counter all this. Sees my Neo tank, builds a bomber. Because my Neo tank got revealed before it even fought anything. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty over. So much stuff. And it really just all went wrong from that opening and that little bit of greed. If I had just stayed further back and made him yeet into me, I think maybe we could have. But we just lost control of the game from there. And I'm not good in a stall, gamers. I'm not good in a stall. I like to brawl. So when my opponent forces me to stall, and yeah, at this point, he said it wasn't over, but it was pretty over. So unfortunately, we got schooled in Fog this week by Adder of all people, the worst CO of Tier 4. But you know what? I don't think this was a bad week. I think this was just a test of, you know, you take some wins and you take some losses. You know, the universe let you punch, but the universe punches you back. And that's just kind of the theme of this week. Even though I lost this game, I didn't really feel too bad about it. Realistically, the game kind of got lost when I lost down here. The game really won, but lost. At this point, the game's over. You have such a substantial lead in material that I'm never going to catch up to you because your attack was already this good. So honestly, the game was over by day 13. You were just seeing the follow-up. Which is unfortunate to end the final game of the day on such a sour note. But you know what? Not every pork chop is perfect. If every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. And that's okay. It's okay to lose sometimes. But next week, we'll hopefully redeem ourselves in the fog of war and finally climb out. Our standard elo is catching up to our fog elo, and that's the scary thing. Our standard elo at this point, to give you a little bit of a perspective of where we're at, 889 standard to 923 fog right now. Like, the standard elo is catching up to my main mode. Like, what is this? We beat an 1100 player in standard, but lost to an 1100 player in fog. That's some craziness. We gotta fix that. But that is a problem for next week on the Jake Break Challenge. I hope everyone enjoyed today. Remember, if you want to watch these live, Twitch is down below. Also, the submission email is open. If you would like me to review your games and potentially make videos about them, send me your replays. I will happily look at them. Doesn't mean I will guarantee, but, I'm always happy to look at your games. So you can look down there, see all the happy, fun times. And until then, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye, gamers!